Hello everyone, Soprano Theories here, and welcome back to the channel. Before we get started, be sure to click subscribe and click the bell to get notifications on all upcoming Soprano videos. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. The links will be in the description below. Now that the Many Saints of Newark is under our belt, it's time to discuss the storylines that never made it into the film. While the film is certainly not a Tony Soprano origin story, it would have been nice to witness Tony's first murder of Willie Overall. What was first brought up in the 15th episode of Season 6 as a flashback, it would have been interesting to see the backstory behind Tony's first hit. A simple storyline such as who ordered Tony to kill Willie Overall, how it went down, why Willie Overall was killed, and then throw in what kind of gun Tony used to kill Willie Overall, plus maybe throwing in Tony's maid ceremony for bonus content. All potential added storylines would have made the film significantly better and would have provided more narrative towards the film itself, and obviously would have added to the extremely short 2-hour runtime. Another storyline that the film didn't even tackle or mention was the character of Johnny Boy Soprano's girlfriend, Fran Felstein, making her first and only appearance in episode 7 of season 5, titled In Camelot. Felstein unraveled her true colors to Tony as a greedy, manipulative, and selfish individual. While blabbing countless of untold but yet interesting stories to Tony, it would be amazing to see if these stories, whether they're true or not, be brought to life on the big screen. Whether it was her brief romantic relationship with JFK, the countless of dinner parties and trips with Johnny Boy and his friends, and even just a glimpse back into the life of a young Hasher Phil Leotardo would have been really thrilling to see for longtime Soprano fans. Sticking with Felstein, another storyline that would have been interesting to see in the film that wasn't even brought up or mentioned in conversation was the assassination of John F. Kennedy. With the film taking place in the 1960s and 1970s, and with the assassination of the 35th president taking place on November 22, 1963, it's unfortunate that we never got to see this historic moment in US history, to even be featured in the background on a television or even hearing it on a radio, much like what we saw in Martin Scorsese's The Irishman, another mafia flick. Another storyline that we were teased about in The Sopranos and in the Many Saints of Newark was the entire scenario of Tony playing football or sports. Early on in Tony and Uncle Junior's relationship, we can see that sports brought them together, this specifically being baseball. As in The Sopranos, we saw flashbacks of a young Tony and Uncle Junior playing catch.
Hey, did you hear the game last night? Joey Pepitone, 3 RBIs. How many fucking hours did I spend playing catch with you?
And in the Many Saints of Newark, we see the same thing with the two playing catch and even going as far as Uncle Junior wanting to play in the rain.
Pros play in the rain. What are you doing, June?
However, what we didn't see in both The Sopranos and its prequel film was Tony playing football. We heard countless times that Tony had small hands and could never be the varsity athlete that Uncle Junior and even his high school coach, Coach Molinaro, wanted him to be.
I told you many times, Anthony, you were special. You had smarts, personality, leadership potential, all the perquisites to lead young men onto the field of sport.
We saw AJ playing football in The Sopranos, and this quite possibly could have been a small glimpse into the athletic potential of a young Tony Soprano. But sadly, this was never the case. We never got to see Tony after practice chasing skirt with Carmela, or making bad decisions with Artie Bucco, who was apparently the worst of the bunch according to Coach Molinaro. Unfortunately, it seems as if the Many Saints of Newark was the last given opportunity to witness a young Tony Soprano playing against those giants from Seton Hall, or even trying to catch that fly ball that made Uncle Junior so embarrassed to see his friends. I guess Soprano fans will never know if Tony really had the potential to be a varsity athlete.
Your father never had the makings of a varsity athlete.
Also, we never got to see the beginnings of the toxic relationship that was between Tony and Carmela. Outside of a small scene in the film, Carmela isn't even a focal point of the film, which is fine because the film totally isn't even about her at all. But a small scene here or there wouldn't have hurt the film either, and would have provided some context towards the beginnings of their relationship. Also, knowing later on in The Sopranos that Charmaine and Tony briefly dated in high school, it would have been so cool to finally see what Charmaine was talking about with Carmela, and to really discover why dating a powerful individual like Tony Soprano really wasn't for her. In the trailer for the film, we saw Tony walking with a bunch of friends late at night. Unfortunately, this specific scene never made it into the film for some strange reason. As a result, we never got to see Ralph, we barely saw Artie, and when we did, we had to come up with pinpointing of the character of Artie Bucco ourselves.
My man told me I gotta run his fucking restaurant when I grow up.
As there was never an introduction to any of these side characters, and the same can be applied for Jackie Aprile Sr. We never saw Bobby, Vito, or even Eugene, who played basketball with Tony growing up. And it's not just friends of Tony's that we never got to see. We never got to see a bunch of family members in the film either. We never got to see that night where Tony Blendetto went to jail, and Tony couldn't make it due to a sudden panic attack. We never saw Uncle Eckerly or even a Bobby Buccalieri Sr. storyline to see just exactly why he was called the Terminator. To go along with this, we heard in The Sopranos of the infamous card game heist that Tony and Jackie Aprile Sr. pulled off as youngsters, and this ultimately solidified their status as up-and-comers in the DeMeo crime family. Unfortunately, just like a lot of storylines in this video, we never got to see the infamous card game heist. Out of all these storylines from The Sopranos that millions of fans were dying to see, the card game heist was the one single storyline, in my opinion, that needed to be in the film. To not include the great storyline of the card game heist was a total missed opportunity. We could have finally found out who Ralph was really with when he got the clap from some hippie, and if it really was Janice. We could have saw a younger version of Feech LaManna, and we could have saw just some much added drama towards the film. Not including the card game heist was a total missed opportunity for the film, and in my opinion, a major reason why the film was a letdown. Well, I would love to hear what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. Are there any storylines from The Sopranos that wasn't in the Many Saints of Newark that I failed to mention? Let me know down in the comment section below. For more Sopranos content, keep it locked here, right here on this channel.